Movie show, 10 past 10, Thursday night on 1, 9 o'clock on 2 on Sunday evening.
The mystery of the violent death of the 39-year-old French woman Sophie Toscan du Plantier has baffled Gardaí and stunned the quiet West Cork community where she holidayed. On tonight's Crime Line, we'll be reconstructing her last known movements and appealing for your help. That's Crime Line in half an hour after the news.
And following Crime Line, questions and answers at 25 past 10 comes from Wexford, and the panellists are Avril Doyle TD, Emily O'Reilly political correspondent, Ray Burke TD and Peter Dargan, the chairperson of the Consumers Association of Ireland. But now on 1, it's 9 o'clock.
A County Antrim family have a lucky escape as loyalists are blamed for bombing their van. William Jefferson Clinton is sworn in for a second term as US President. And threatening someone with a syringe is to become a criminal offence. Good evening. A Catholic couple and their 5-month-old baby daughter had what police are describing as a miraculous escape today in a suspected loyalist bomb attack at Larne in County Antrim. The couple with their child drove for 20 minutes through the town, not knowing that a bomb had been attached to their van. It exploded without causing injury as they reversed into a friend's driveway. The IUC say they've no idea why the family was targeted. The man's uncle was shot dead by the UFF almost 4 years ago. The incident in Larne came just 2 hours after a double bomb attack on an RUC station in the Short Strand area of East Belfast.
Once again, the RUC is saying it was a miracle no one was seriously injured or killed. The van had been driven through busy traffic across Larne for 20 minutes. The bomb had been placed under the passenger seat where 37-year-old John Shaw's girlfriend Adele was cradling their 5-month-old daughter Shona. It exploded as they were reversing into a friend's driveway at about 10:30. It's obvious from the damage caused they were lucky to survive.
Drove it 25 yards, 30 yards up the road, and put the van in reverse gear to reverse back. We turned it in the road, the van exploded. There was a massive bang, and the van just filled with smoke, and the van just went out of control and can't up around him. That's what happened. I was just sort of caught unawares, like, you know.
I'm disgusted in them. Absolutely disgusted to think they would even consider even doing a thing like that. There's no consideration at all. No consideration.
The RUC simply couldn't understand why a family would be targeted.
I think it's dastardly. Anyone could see that there's any motive in attacking a young family like this. They're just going about their business. I just cannot understand what somebody's trying to achieve out of this action.
Mr. Shaw's uncle was shot dead by the UFF in March 1993 on the shores of Belfast Lough. And he said one of his brothers has received death threats from the same organisation. Security sources are...
The Constitution of the United States, and in his inauguration speech urged Americans to embrace a new spirit of community for the new century. Our Washington correspondent Mark Little has been watching the celebrations.
It was a bright new morning in Washington as thousands spilled onto the streets of the American capital to mark a unique event, a new start for a second-term president, and a ceremony bursting with patriotism. The center of attention was the steps of the majestic Capitol building and the leader of the world's most powerful democracy.
The President of the United States, the Honorable William Jefferson Clinton.
Bill Clinton joins an exclusive club today. This is the 53rd presidential inauguration.
And will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
And Clinton is the first Democrat since Franklin Delano Roosevelt to be sworn in as president for a second full term.
Oh.
Today, President Clinton watched his trusted vice president and possible successor, Al Gore, take the oath of office. Then it was his turn. And with Chief Justice William Rehnquist, he recited those famous 35 words.
I, William Jefferson Clinton, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Good luck.
With the ceremonial high point over, President Clinton faced the crowd with his inaugural address, stressing the need for political consensus in America.
The American people returned to office a president of one party and a Congress of another. Surely they did not do this to advance the politics of petty bickering and extreme partisanship they plainly deplore.
And the president finished with a rhetorical flourish that has always marked these great events.
From the height of this place and the summit of this century, let us go forth. May God strengthen our hands for the good work ahead, and always, always bless our America.
And within the past hour, President Clinton has left the Capitol building, leading a triumphant parade along Pennsylvania Avenue, his final destination the White House, and his second term as President of the United States.
Well, that was the scene in Washington just a short time ago. Mark Little joins us now from above the White House. Mark, what's happening at the moment?
Well, in the last few minutes, President Clinton has arrived at that final destination, the White House, and the reviewing stand, which you can just see over my shoulder here. The parade will begin now. It's a parade that will involve bands from the military and a lot of participants from states all around the country. It'll last for about 4 hours if precedent is anything to go by. But the celebrations don't end there. This parade will go on for most of the afternoon. And then this evening we have 14 official inaugural balls, which the President promises to pay at least a short visit to each one. That's how his second term will begin here in Washington.
Mark, what about that inauguration speech, and particularly the emphasis, as you reported there, on bipartisanship? Does that betray, do you think, any anxiety on his part that this might be his last occasion and reason to celebrate for some time to come?
I think it does. I think people said this would be a low-key speech because it came after the excitement of '93. That couldn't be matched. They were right. This was a speech high on symbols but low on specifics. The call for the end to petty bickering between Republicans and Democrats, you should look at it another way as well. Both the House Speaker, the Republican House Speaker Newt Gingrich, and President Clinton have been the subject of attacks over ethics. And I think many people have made political capital out of this. President Clinton is calling on everyone to turn down the heat for one reason alone. He needs to get some parts of his domestic agenda through, like a reduction of the budget deficit, the end to the current social welfare system. He can only do it if he's got cooperation from Republicans. So what he's doing today was saying, okay, reduce the heat. It's the only way we're going to get reforms that will please the American people. And if we don't, then it's a plague on both our houses, Republican and Democrat.
Just a final question, and briefly if you can, Mark. We saw Hillary Clinton there in your report, very much in the role of loyal consort. But given the fact that this is now a second term, that Mr. Clinton won't be looking for re-election at the end of this period of office, does that give Hillary Clinton an opportunity to reassert a policy role in the White House?
To an extent. It will never be the same as it was at the beginning of the first term when she took control of healthcare, the big initiative of the early years of the Clinton administration. In many ways, she was the most articulate and strongest First Lady of modern times, and she was a lightning rod for many of the President's critics. She had to reduce her public role. She did it in the last year, and I don't think we're going to see her coming out very prominently in front of camera, pushing initiatives and policies, but she will be a very strong background figure, someone very supportive of her husband, and I think more now in a low-key way, rather than the very high-profile way, which brought a lot of criticism in the early years of the first administration. As you can hear behind me, a lot of screams and shouts here for the President, who we believe is just starting to speak on the reviewing stand.
All right, we'll let you wait to listen to that, and we'll hear what he's got to say later. Thanks very much indeed, Mark. Here, the government is promising new legislation to combat the widespread practice of using syringes to carry out crimes like robbery. It'll be an offence to use a syringe.
Toyota Starlet to be won, and an extra bonus with 2 Apple computers to be won by schools every month.
Keep sending my minstrels. You too could be a winner.
Extra quality, extra flavor, last quality tea.
Now that's what I call a perfect cup of tea.
Rich in fiber.
Goodness.
Rich in protein.
Goodness.
Rich in energy.
Goodness.
Odlum's Oat Flakes, the goodness breakfast.
You know you've made the right decision when your money is safely invested in a pension through Bank of Ireland. You can relax knowing that our investment managers have a proven record of high performance. Isn't it time you started your pension through Bank of Ireland?
She likes milk and it shows. She's got great muscle tone. She likes milk and it shows. Strong, healthy bones. He likes milk and it shows. Baby, soft skin, bright eyes, a healthy grin. He likes milk and it shows.
Milk does a body good with vitamin A to help keep skin smooth, calcium for strong bones, and protein to help build muscle. When you drink milk, it shows.
She likes milk and it shows. It does her body good.
No arguments, Bill. Get us to Frankfurt by tomorrow morning. No problem. How about by 10:30? Can you guarantee 10:30? UPS can guarantee 8:30 if we want. Costs us a bit more. No, 10:30 is terrific. Right then, consider it done. Consider it done. Whatever happened to, oh, I don't think so, just not possible? New system. But we can always go back to the old ways, sir. Oh, no. I'll leave you alone. Thank you, sir. You do that.
Guaranteed 10:30 and 8:30 services. Two advantages of Europe's new delivery system. UPS. Consider it done.
Hello again. Tonight's main news. Security sources in the north believe loyalists were responsible for a car bomb attack on a Catholic family in Larne today. The Minister for the Environment, Brendan Howlin, has said that planning guidelines won't be altered to facilitate Ireland's second mobile phone company, ESAT Digifone. But he said every effort would be made to accommodate the company. There have been reports that ESAT is having difficulty getting planning permission for its network of masts. It'll also feature a security video of her arrival at Cork Airport. Gardaí say they're making progress in the investigation, but feel that someone in the locality may be in possession of information which could be vital to the investigation.
It's now 4 weeks to the day since 39-year-old Madame Duplantier was found murdered in the laneway of her holiday home 8 miles from Schull in West Cork. Despite all the efforts of the Gardaí, her killer is still at large, and the motive for her murder remains a mystery. Tonight's Crime Line programme reconstructs Madame Duplantier's last known movements, from the time she arrived at Cork Airport on the Friday before Christmas, drove to her holiday home, shopped in Schull, and went walking at Three Castle Head.
There was a sighting of a red car in the area of where Sophie Duplantier was walking on the Sunday the 22nd of December. We made an appeal locally for the owner of that car to come forward. So far we have not satisfactorily resolved that, even though it is purely for the purpose of elimination, and we would appeal now, once again, that that person would contact us.
According to tonight's reconstruction, Madame Duplantier had returned to her holiday home by 5:30 on Sunday evening and phoned her husband in France at 10 to 11. At 10 o'clock next morning, Monday, December 23rd, she was found beaten to death in the laneway at the front gates of her house.
We feel that whoever assaulted her might have the potential to strike again, and in addition could have bloodstains on their person or on their clothing.
And you feel that somebody perhaps might have information to that effect that could help you?
Well, indeed they could, and that is why I'm making this appeal that whoever, if anybody has information relevant to our inquiry, that they would come forward and tell us now.
Could perhaps save another life?
Exactly.
Tonight's main news again, in what police suspect was a loyalist attack. A Catholic couple and their baby daughter had a narrow escape when a bomb attached to their van exploded as they drove through Larne today. And in Washington, Bill Clinton has been sworn in for a second term as President of the United States. We leave you with some images of today's inauguration in Washington from all of us in the 9 o'clock news. A very good night to you.
Hello there and a very good evening to you. Well, generally a dry and bright...
I feel bugged up.
Weapon selected.
There's something about Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann that brings out the sunshine in people. Apart altogether from the musical competitions, Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann is about people. Whole families out enjoying themselves for the day in the sunshine at a festival that truly is of the people.
Isn't it amazing that in an age of high technology, sometimes it's the simplest of diversions that really holds a young audience spellbound? They say it takes all sorts, and Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann certainly brings them out. Busking with the children in mind, yet this trooper ends up with an almost entirely adult audience. Perhaps the Fleadh continues to thrive because it belongs entirely to the people. It's a dispensation in late August, a weekend flourish just before the schools reopen. It gives us all permission to be young. And this inclusiveness is jealously guarded. Absolutely no one feels left out. Where else would a group of young players and a solo dancer hold a street audience at ransom to the simple charm of their spontaneity? Or a group of friends put their backs to the wall and play for the sheer fun of it. Entertainment, simple and wholesome.
With the Fleadh enticing visitors in their tens of thousands, the square in Listowel is transformed into an open-air theatre, where the relationship between the player and the audience is immediate and responsive. And thanks to O'Rourke, based in Limerick and surrounding districts, certainly know how to present individual and ensemble talent with verve and boundless energy.
Christmas, they use their adverts to tell lies. However, ours
come on,
don't.
Terry, love.
Sorry,
Come
love.
on.
However, ours don't. Here it is.
Stop.
Terry, have you tried pot noodle lately?
Gillian O'Shea and the short journey up the road did little to dampen the ardour of these local enthusiasts. Glúndar an sin faoi lán Cheoil. Ag an oscailtí figiúil chuid ag béim nua Lát na Gaeilge in óráid an ard stúrathóra Lárás sa mar acu.
Well, dan ó host bhí an Gaeilge mar ceantas na príomhaimene ag an Gáltas, ach tugtar faoineara le déanaí, tuis go bhfuil an fiabhas có mór sin tagathe an gheol tradiisiúnta, agus go bhfuil an deathaláin don Gaeilge, go bhfuil sé in ann don Comhaltas agus gach éine eile, iireachta dhéanamh gníomh a chorinát na deathala sin, agus tá sé sin á dhéanamh in san policy gá hangacha se tá sa Comhaltas I láthair na Huaire.
Again, looking to the origins, Comhaltas was, I suppose, established to nurture traditional music, particularly among young people. The music is safe, but is it perhaps being packaged even by yourselves as a commodity?
I think that's inevitable in many ways, that you have to make it available to a broader public. But at the same time, I think we've never lost contact with our roots, and that is through the teaching of Irish traditional music. We have over 600 classes at the moment, but I think that as young musicians become proficient, they want to have greater platforms, and that's good in itself. But I still believe the real essence of traditional music making is down at the informal session, whether on the street or in a pub or whatever the case may be. I wouldn't like to see that changing.
And there's little fear of the street or the pub session falling out of favour over the Fleadh weekend. All over town, informal musical alliances are forged. This session is a classic example. Musicians from all over the country, some from Ring County Waterford, some from Dublin, each bring their own unique experience to the session. Agus cúnas feite ach a burt. Seo surchan í chéalagar, agus círan ó galbhain, leis a bhaindáil suas.
Mar hag maras farsing faltach is lan stad arersen imrim patlish nefarulanta nach laden nordes gregish
Nino Sodrammaher No Ramvaher Pakos Fjallum Heino Marnig nach Sonne Kroch No Stako Ja, meisters gelaid I nechel Nach taim sheraliat Gawilm shen angralat Parewellachlot non tailsa Shabon malayme Nagos glak lepati Sahaleps ngavrach ni yamhad
Communal values affirmed, there's also room for a little bit of cross-cultural hijinks. John O'Brien shows us how not to play the uilleann pipes. And when an antique single-string fiddle is introduced to the company by the landlord, there are many ways of setting about playing it. Fionn McGillicudda tries his hand at a slow air.
She the one more as Ballish warriors, but she coached here or he was sharigi. Is Ravecas in steam and shit on the lanes, not a higgle simple shilling a carol me. She's journey over the coast, the Kanyaki Shule Kalakan Narigit. I she the one more, she the one more, she the one.
Anthony Farrakhan improvising for the pure fun of it. And the nighttime street sessions mushroom all over town. Oliver Devaney of Oranmore blending his box notes with young American fiddler Matt Mancuso.
Meanwhile, what must have been the highlight for these young dancers from Ballydonoghue, Lisselton, Coltis, Cheoil, Cory centre stage and proud that they are entitled to the spotlight and have earned the right to an audience. These young dancing stars of tomorrow savour their big moment. Nearby, in St. John's Theatre, a moment of rare beauty. Consummately skilled, flute player Thomas Durley and his brother Eamon on bouzouki weave a delicate magic. The Independence hornpipe followed by a reel, The New Policeman. And perhaps one of the greatest solo street performers of them all, Antrim's Jim McKillop, My Lagan Love.
A new fiddle, by the look of it.
Just finished in time for the Fleadh, Paddy.
And tell me this now, how much work goes into that? A lot of time.
A lot of time. I've taken particular care with this one. I've decided I have to make something really good at last. So I really love this. I've really enjoyed playing it.
Well, they say that a Jim McKillop fiddle gets better, as it were, by the year, you know?
Well, that's what we hope, Pat.
You have an extraordinary ability to captivate an audience. It's, you know, it's going late into the night and on a solo fiddle. A special relationship with the Fleadh audience. How's that? Built up over the years?
Yeah, and I think the real talent is the audience. You know, I think they come here to hear music, and it's so easy to communicate with an audience in this kind of situation.
Well, there's no doubt but that Jim McKillop certainly communicates with the audience. Jim, it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much indeed.
Sunday night in time for the Senior Ceilidh Band competition. 30 and 40 years ago, this was one of the highlights of the traditional music here. It's the same this year. 1,000 people packed into the hall. There'd be 5,000 here if there was room for them.
On cue, the Brosna Ceilidh Band, local favourites making a strong comeback, and perhaps a little disappointed with third place overall. Among the favourites, Ceoltóirí Chonwachna from County Leitrim, their delicate cohesion putting them well in contention for top honours. At the end of the day, with the top two places at stake, the previous All-Ireland Supremos, the Bridge Ceilidh Band, led from the front, as usual, by Eugene Nolan, give their all in pursuit of glory.
Champions for 1996, the Bridge Ceilidh Band. absolutely great again, Anya. Terrific. Yeah.
An awful lot of work must have gone into it.
Super, you know, it was all such work, you know. The amount of commitment from the members, Anya, the distances they had to travel, you know. There's a very wide
So
scatter.
it's not just a victory for County Laois tonight?
Oh, it's not. It's Laois, Kildare, Offaly, Westmeath. And there's 2 Tipperary men in the band, one domiciled in Kildare and the other domiciled in Offaly.
The stuff of which legends are made. And who among these young aspirants will shape the future of Irish traditional music? Time alone will tell. But the torch is now theirs, and it's safe in their keeping.
And this programme of highlights from Listowel 96 continues next Sunday at the same time, 6:30.
While musicians of the finest quality explore their art in the rarefied atmosphere of All-Ireland competition, Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann has always been a musically inclusive event, a weekend where, in the casualness of a pub session, all comers are welcome, and quite often, the more the merrier. A weekend for participant and spectator alike.
In many ways, you know, it's performances such as that that summarise what Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann is really all about. The music of the people, played for the people, freely available morning, noon and night in every street and in every pub, wherever the Fleadh Cheoil meets. And of course here, welcoming you yet again to the second programme, Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann 1996, coming all the way from Listowel, Listowel in North Kerry. Arguably, Fleadh Cheoil, one of the greatest traditional music sessions and events on earth.
And the sessions never stop. The Fleadh, no matter where it's held, has always attracted a devoted and loyal northern contingent. Cearnóg Listowel Cheolta Ollie Coshlocha as Cunta Entruma.
Taflache, Besach, Bean, Boyach. From the first note struck, it's clear that this is no freewheeling late-night pub session. Here, young musicians of the finest calibre play to a different beat, to that inner note that shapes such concepts as taste and discernment. Ancient tunes, safe in young hands. A joy to listen to.
Musicians are the heart and soul of music, but of course without instruments there would be no music, and here in Listowel the instrument makers and the instrument sellers are here in numbers.
Paddy Clancy, crafting the finest of Irish handmade accordions.
We've done it for the last, researched it for the last 6 years. And we've worked on it constantly, building prototypes and building better prototypes, and we finally came up with this one.
And what sort of a reaction have you had with it now since it was launched?
Great, absolutely great. We're delighted with the outcome of it, of course.
The older the fiddle maker, the sweeter the tune? Perhaps. The centre of attention wherever he goes, Tom Maloney is a beloved character who never misses a fleadh.
My first Fleadh Cheoil was in Newcastle West, and the second one was in Ennis in County Clare, and the third was in Listowel town, the best of all. And I'm going to every Fleadh Cheoil ever since that time. And I could always put Listowel #1.
Showing that he plays as well as he makes, Tom Cusson builds a quality instrument.
How much would that cost me now if I wanted to buy one like that?
This one here now will cost you about £1,200, including the case and sort of thing. Last your lifetime. Absolute lifetime.
I better go home and start saving.
Yeah, you have no problem with that.
Paddy Gavin of Tuam and Martin Donoghue of Cavan, consummate players with contrasting styles, put these new instruments through their paces, creating in the process a moment of creative delight, proving into the bargain that the only true test of an instrument is to give it to a master and stand back.
Martin Donoghue and Paddy Gavin. Those are instruments you literally swiped over across the street and said you'd try out for us. What do you think of them?
They're certainly lovely action boxes. I find lovely movement on the keyboard. Makes the fingers move quick.
And Martin, what sort of money are we talking about there?
This one here, I just see the price is still on it. And it's £1,000.50.
Well, now I leave it all to yourself at that sort of price. Paddy, what do you think of that one there?
I think it's a lovely box.
Lovely.
It's a lovely box, a lovely light box.
It was nice to see you there working off each other. Have you played a lot together?
Not at all.
I would have thought maybe there was a moment in the middle there which suggested that maybe it was last year since you last sat down together.
We only met once before, 12 months ago.
I've heard of Paddy's music down through the years through Kiltus, and met him last year in Calvin. And I love his music. So.
Absolutely, contrasting styles, and nice to see you. Marvellous work in the streets of Listowel. Lads, thank you very much indeed. Fair play.
Low whistle and harp, perhaps the most fluid combination in Irish traditional music. Weaving this tone poem are Fermanagh Lawrence Nugent, home from Chicago for the Fleadh, teaming up here with the pride of Monaghan, harper Michael Rooney.
Delightful playing there, Lawrence Nugent and Michael Rooney. And just as there are well-known hurling and football families, traditional music has more than its share of dedicated households. In and around Cracora, County Limerick, the Clohessy family are synonymous with the music. Hornpipe, jig or reel presents no problems, and the Fleadh affords an opportunity to offer the music they love to a wider audience. Dan's request and Jackie Coleman's.
Lovely. The old music simply played by young people. While at the Singers Club, the young take possession of the old songs.
The money to Riley she did run. This very night to take your life, my father charged a gun. Here is 1,000 pounds in gold my mother gave to you. So sail away to America, where I will follow you.
To give you an inkling of what I am thinking, a mate of mine went for a spin to Macroom. He's a sensible sort, all he had was a quart, but alas, such a quantity had sealed his doom. He was stopped near Lisarda by a Westcourt vanguarder. The sergeant asked him to blow into the yoke, and guarded the wire a spider ball tire, and his tax and insurance were up, that's no joke.
We won't go home across the fields, the strong turnings might stick in our heels. We won't go home across the fields, but we'll go home by Barna. And dithry idle diddle dum, dithry idle doodle dum, dithry idle diddle dum, dithry idle diddle.
Brian Olin had no watch for to wear, so he got the small turnip and scoped it out square. He slipped it like cricket in under his skin, should I think it was ticking, says Brian Olin. Diddle diddle dum, down doodle diddle dum, down doodle diddle diddle dum.
Oh, the Rhine lads go caution, skokon gelnamalan. He's got carried na shoe iramolins. He's got broke for the varhut nil da valje. Says come back buni gone orna.
Effortless, unself-conscious talent. As indeed here, Nolene O'Connor, Dennis McMahon, Joe O'Sullivan and Paddy O'Connor of Ballyhar, Killarney and Rathmore together do what comes naturally to them, play polkas, Johnny Larry's and Pádraig O'Caoimh's. alive and well, music that was danced to at house parties, platforms and American wakes.
Away from the gaze of it all, save the participants, their friends and families. The All-Ireland Under-15 Duet competition is keenly contested. Impressing the adjudicators, delightful playing from Maureen and Sinead Linnane of East London. From Abbeyfeale in County Limerick, Michelle and Louise Mulcahy. Representing the Sean Tracy branch of Colthus in Dublin, Donal Regan and Padraig O'Neill. It's over to the adjudicators. A half a mark here or there will make all the difference. A coveted All-Ireland Championship or the consolation of a runner-up place.
And in first place, from Sean Tracy, CC in Dublin, we had Donal Regan and Padraig O'Neill.
A wonderful triumph for Donal and Padraig, All-Ireland Under-15 Duet champions for 1996.
Imagine a world where all the information you constantly need is available at your fingertips. You might imagine this world as an elaborate virtual library, constantly monitored and updated as your needs change. You would think such a service would be expensive, but it's free. You might also think that it would be hard to access, but it's so easy. It's staring you in the face. Airtel, it's a changing world. Keep in touch.
Imagine an engine as smart as this. One which can react, respond, adapt instantly to changing demands. Honda did. That's why you'll only find a VTEC engine at the heart of a Honda. Drive smart. Drive Honda.
It's true. You can eat it anywhere.
Ambrosia. Devon knows how they make it so creamy.
Every squeeze pack is jumping with juice. 15 oranges of flavor let loose. Juicy as juice, fresh as the breeze. Squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. Squeeze me, honey, honey, squeeze me. Shake me, honey, honey, shake me. I will never, never spill a drop. So honey, honey, don't stop. Squeeze me, honey.
Aer Lingus USA 97 is bigger than ever, with more flights and more low-fare seats to over 50 destinations across the USA. It's our biggest offer yet. And we've great new family fares to New York, Boston, and Chicago. So see the big country for less in 97. If you book and pay now, offer closes February 28th. Pick up a brochure today from Aer Lingus or your local ITAA travel agent. Aer Lingus.
On an ordinary day, a child's bright laughter fills the air. One loving word, one loving glance, the sunshine everywhere. Your Werther's is his Werther's too, so glistening with its golden glow, so sweet and creamy, it tastes so good. You're so alike, the two of you. Werther's and that feeling that you never will forget. When one who loves you says to you, you're someone very special too.
Tile Saber's biggest ever sale is now on, and big winter value includes huge reductions on tiles and bathrooms. Tile Saber's Dublin, Newbridge, Drogheda and now Kilkenny.
Perk up pork with Coleman's new apple cider and mustard sauce.
Cider? Oh, not for me. I'm totally teetotal, totally.
Coleman's. Comes highly recommended.
It's a flying start to 1997 on Friday, January the 10th, when David Golub joins Coleman Pierce and the National Symphony Orchestra for Brahms' epic Piano Concerto No. 2. Also Prokofiev's The Love of Three Oranges and Ravel's La Valse at the National Concert Hall, where RTE supports the arts.
The men went off and the women gathered round, every one of them with a chunk of rock in her hand. The boat slowed up as they came into shore, as they didn't know what to make of it. Soon they drove the nose of their boat onto the rock, with two men standing in the prow with nothing to do but keep their guns levelled on anyone who should lift a hand against them. As soon as the first man got out of the boat, a woman flung down a great lump of a stone and came near to knock him off his feet. He glanced up at the cliff and pointed his gun at them. But not a woman stirred. They kept their ranks unbroken. Then a woman threw another stone, and then another and another, till the whole beach echoed with a clatter. No more men got out of the boat, and they had to make haste and take the men they'd put on land aboard again and clear off out to sea as hard as they could. When the news got abroad that a steamship had been to the Blasket that day, and that they'd failed to give their tax or rent, it set all Ireland wondering. Things stayed quiet for some time.
Marcus Coonahan as Tomás Ó Crithinn in this adaptation of The Island Man on stage at St John's Theatre over the Fleadh weekend, a woven tapestry of words and music with Steve Wickham on fiddle. Steve Wickham, and no wonder this setting of Untitled found favour with a Fleadh audience.
Finding favour with devoted followers of the marching bands competition is no easy task, and adjudicators must run the gauntlet between local passion and the pride and tradition of long-travelled band aficionados from the four corners of the country. For the young band members, it's more than just a day out. The All-Ireland competition is the pinnacle of their musical year. The Ahagallan Pipe Band of County Armagh giving full vent to an anthem from the deep south, Cork City's Boys of Fairhill. It all makes for a carnival street atmosphere when the bands come into town for their traditional march past on the Sunday afternoon. Melon and flan and mílte chun ceilúra. Ach ní higan an pobl a gutine, líon na geoltóirí a glachan ports na comórtaisí. Seo uachtarán an cóltais, Padre go cealaí.
An sohil is tóhar bhí timpeall 1500 daoine nó mar sin an sá. A bhí na comórtaisí go léir lán go dtí an doras. Agus bhí an ceol ag na daoine óga, go mór na daoine óga. Ag fiacantar agus ag géiste clena banna céalaí a réir. Bhí daoine óga agus daoine héasta ag sinnam le céile.
Comhaltas is a busy organisation all year round, but how important is Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann to the work of Comhaltas?
Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann is terribly important to the work of Comhaltas because it is where all the competitors come who have competed at county level and at provincial level, and they qualify for Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann. And it's all youngsters' ambitions really to take part and play and perhaps win at Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann.
For this pair of hardy annuals enjoying the Listowel sunshine, it's no longer a matter of winning or losing. Patsy Maloney of Birmingham and John Collins of Templemore set themselves a musically daunting task. Warming up with the old bush, they're shortly about to launch into that most testing of reels, the bucks of Oranmore.
Well, John Collins, Templemore, fair play to you. Lovely, lovely to hear two men playing traditional music and knowing what they're at. Is there a lot of changes you've seen over the years?
Well, not for me, because I like playing the real traditional music.
The old style?
Yeah, because I'm from a part of Tipperary where Paddy O'Brien was very influential in accordion playing and traditional music.
Some people would say that Paddy, in his own way, was fairly inventive in his day.
Well, he wrote a lot of good music, but he always played the real traditional music. Never went away from the traditional music.
Patsy Maloney, Temple Glantine, and of course of Birmingham, isn't that right?
That's right, yeah.
The old music still has the charm for you?
For me, yes, I base it that way. I love, John said most of it there in two words.
Imogen Paddy O'Brien. I think we should never change our traditional music. And if you play it and think of it like that and play it from your heart, you can't really change it. That's the way it was put down. I think that's the way it should be kept as well, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, all I can say is it's a joy to hear it alive in the streets of Listowel. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, every pub in town is absolutely packed full of musicians and people listening to the music by this stage. Maybe this one is particularly full because the Ryan family and their friends from Clonmel are playing inside, and they're good, I can tell you. But I'm going to give it a last try and see if I can look in through the window.
A mighty session giving us one of the most enduring images of the joy of music at Fleadh Cheoil. But here's one pub session that we did manage to get into, and the quality of the playing here made it all worthwhile.
Young players don't come better than that. And top of the bill in the square outside, not too many come better than Michael Sexton's Cayley Band of Ennis, County Clare, working up a passionate rapport with the audience. And whoever said that traditional music was a minority interest?
Perhaps the slow air in a pub setting isn't heard too often, but it's a measure of both player and audience that strict order is observed for Brendan Callahan of Virginia in the United States on Buchalín Baum.
Showmanship of the highest order, a bravura performance of panache and verve, Jim McGillip, accompanied by John Cunningham and Michael McElwee, rejoicing in the chance to entertain a late-night audience clustered about and not wanting any of it to end.
Jim McKillop's audience is partisan. They're not a patch on the followers of the Elfin set dancers, heard here giving vocal support to their favourites in the set dancing final.
And the winners of the senior set competition, number 3, Elfin.
Joy and victory is unconfined, perhaps more so in the group competitions than in the solo, and receiving an All-Ireland trophy from the President of Comhaltas, a moment to be fondly remembered.
Fond memories also for those braving the late-night elements to revel in the achievement of the Bridge Ceilidh Band. The honour of closing the Fleadh goes to the newly crowned All-Ireland champions, and whereas Eugene Nolan and the Bridge have tasted victory on other occasions, the 1996 comeback is perhaps the sweetest of all.
Excellent. Excellent. They're great. Okay. Now. Okay. Our first finalist comes all the way from Clonakilty in Cork. Roy Maguire. Is Roy with us? Hope Roy's made it. Roy, come on down.
Yeah.
Who wants to tell me about the auditions? Because you didn't know each other, did you?
No.
No.
The auditions were about 2 years ago. And we all went in, scared stiff, didn't know who was going to get it or what was going to happen.
So they went on for quite a while. It was about 9 months, wasn't it, they went on for?
Yeah.
And we found out then, we were brought to lunch and we were told we had it. So then...
Did any of you know each other at all before this?
At all. Myself and Louise lived near each other when we were kids, but we never
knew one another,
really.
but like, I was living there till I was at 12.
And then Louise was
modelling
as well.
And Sinead's from Cork, so she didn't know any of us at all, like, because we were from Dublin.
All right. So the auditions were a long, protracted thing. What did you have to do?
Well, the first audition was basically, there was about 2,500 girls, I would say. And we all went in, we all got this little number around our neck. I think I was number 72 or something. I said, oh my God, like I'm 72, I'll never get picked. But we all went in and we all sang a different line of a song, Eternal Oh Baby I.
That song.
Never forget that song. And we did a few steps. And then as the auditions progressed, we had to sing a whole song and then do an entire dance. So
And finally, it was refined down to the 5 people that we see here.
Yes.
You have to be able to sing quite clearly. You have to be able to dance. Do you write your own stuff, though?
We do.
Yeah, we do. We're currently working on a lot of our own stuff.
It's partly why we've taken, it's taken us so long. We took the time out to sort of develop a style ourselves and to work on getting fit and strong, working out in the gym every day, just to get a package together to get a better deal, you know, more long-lasting.
Okay, how have you been putting body and soul together, supporting yourselves for the last couple of years?
It was difficult for a while, that's for sure. Yeah,
Mummy and Daddy.
Mummy and Daddy.
Yeah.
Anyone on the dole?
Well, no. I had, from modelling, I had a bit of money set aside, so I lived on that.
Did you think for a while that it mightn't happen at all?
Of course.
There was times, there was times when you cry and you go home and you say, this isn't working, what am I doing, why don't I go to college, what am I going to do? And then you say, and you go in the next day and the song comes together and we all have a great laugh and we say, yes, this is going to work. We visualised it long ago, that we were going to be successful, so...
Okay, you all look very different in the way you are attired now. Hairstyles are a little bit the same, but more or less as you are. What's the image going to be like when you go, say, on video, when you do your first live appearance on television singing? What are you going to look like?
It's going to be actually, we each have very individual styles and characteristics and personalities. So rather than kind of conform to the one image, we're going to try and portray each of our own personalities and how we dress and how we portray ourselves on stage. So that's
probably
what we're kind of
less
working
dressy than something like tonight. We're dressed up especially
this
for you.
special occasion.
But I mean, for dancing and stuff, you'd want more comfortable clothes. It's going to be toned down and, you know, stuff that we can move around in, because our act, what we're trying to concentrate on is being able to sing and dance at the same time. So we're going to be dancing a lot, so we don't want to be wearing like high heels and velvet suits.
Were you a bit worried when the Spice Girls happened that perhaps you'd missed the boat, that they were going to be the big one and that you wouldn't?
It's a good thing. It's a good thing, really, that, you know, Spice Girls have made it, because they've opened up doors for us.
Yeah.
And because we're from Ireland, we want to do it for Ireland. And, you know, we're the first girl group, pop group
From Ireland.
From Ireland, you know. So we're going to kick butt.
Well, Valerie Rowe's been looking after you, right? And she had experience in the Doolies, so she actually knows the business and is able to tell you. What sort of cautionary tales does she tell you about? I mean, what do's and don'ts for the business?
First one was just relax, basically, I think, you know, also like, you know.
Well, she also warned us, first of all, you're going to hate each other. We were like, no, we're not. We love each other. Believe me, you're going to hate each other. So we've been to London a few times, and like there's been a few kind of, you know, clothes and makeup fights. It's not too bad, but you know, she's kind of just warned us that it's not going to be all rosy, you know, and the worst is yet to come. I'm sure when we're traveling and we're tired and whatever. I mean, I know we're hungry, but she warned us about all that kind of stuff, you know.
And
but we have to be prepared for it.
And what about rules, you know, house rules for the band, like no boyfriends?
No boyfriends.
No way. We're not interested
no men
anyway.
at all. No, we don't need unless they're very rich. I know, what
The plan is that you girls will be very rich yourselves. That's the plan.
Hopefully.
But you know the way the fans get devastated when they find out that, say, a member of Boyzone has a girlfriend or whatever. I mean, the rules are no admitted boyfriends or no boyfriends?
Well, we don't have any. We just don't have boyfriends. Time, you know, for boyfriends, really. We're just concentrating on a career at the moment.
Yeah. Is this just a line you're peddling?
No.
Oh yeah, sure they don't. It's true.
Who'd have us? Yeah, who'd have us?
I can't imagine any fellas being interested in you at all.
They may be right as well.
What's the next stage? I mean, when are you going to cut a record? When are you actually going to have something out that we can see?
Well, we're going to go into hiding. for the next few months.
Over to London.
Over to London, yeah. So it'll take about, I'd say about 6 months.
Should take, well, about 6 months, but we're going to hopefully get it out as soon as possible, but when it's right.
Yeah,
we haven't rushed anything.
We're going to work with different producers, so that'll take a while.
I want to hear this Cork accent. Come on, you say a few things.
I know, like, all my friends in Cork.
We never turned into a dub.
All right, what are you going to call yourselves? Because you're called Siren at the moment, but there are American bands.
Yeah, there's an American band and there's an English rave band that are called Siren as well, spelled differently though. So legally we can't keep it. So if anybody has any ideas,
we're currently called a band formerly known as Siren, so you know we don't want to be sued by
the artist formerly known as Prince, that sort of
anything
specific.
at all.
Any ideas you can write into Pat Kenny.
Yeah, that's for sure. If anyone has any ideas,
everybody annoys Pat Kenny.
that's fine. I'll pass on.
Envelope to Pat Kenny.
Any inspiration, I'll pass on.
Great.
But one of the suspicions that people have, they look at you. You're fabulous-looking girls. I mean, in spite of your false modesty,
It's all the makeup. We're slappers without
you're
the makeup.
fabulous-looking girls. And people will think that you were actually chosen because you look great. Right, now, I want you, if you can, to prove to everybody that you can sing. Could you do that?
Where's our band? We don't have our band.
No band.
Could you sing something a cappella for me?
We're not really allowed to sing at the moment because we're signed, but we have a little kind of a party piece that we do now and again.
Ages ago,
so.
It's just for you, Pat, because
Will
you're
you
so
do it? Will you do it? For me?
Want to hear it?
Okay, excellent.
Life ain't no good without you. You know that it's true. You're everything I live for. Telling myself I'm a fool. Ain't easy to do. When it's you I believe in, and if you knew just what I do to have you here beside me, and love is so blind, and your love is like no other. Love is so blind, and your love is like no other love.
Great stuff, girls. You can sing. You look great.
If you
it's
say
not
so,
like the
Pat.
Kit Kat ad. You're gonna go very
You
far.
haven't seen us dance yet.
I can wait for that. Anyway,
Dance next time.
next time I will invite you on when the single's ready. First single back on the show, if you would, please. And we'll wish you the very best of luck in whatever name you choose.
Thank you.
But look, girls, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank
We
you.
wish you the very best.
Thank you to everyone who's worked with us
Yeah.
and helped us along the way. To Louis Walsh.
Yeah.
Sitting at home now.
Louis.
Thank everyone.
We're doing
all
a
our
close
trainers.
session
A lot
here.
of people have given us a lot of things.
Support, you know.
For all the
a lot
help
of
we've had on
support.
our way.
Okay.
And the clothes as well.
Excellent. In London. Our singer tonight is a fellow called Tommy Quinn, born in Belfast. He's got Eurosong experience as well because he came second with a song called Feel the Pain in 1972. He's played with loads of bands, including one called No Hot Ashes. Think about that, girls, when you're thinking of a name. No Hot Ashes. They moved to London in 1988, played all the major venues over there, like the Marquee Club, before he came back in 1990, and he now lives here with his wife and children. So, this is the song, the second song, The Good Life, written by Teresa Keogh and performed for us now by Tommy Quinn.
Sometimes with nothing to lose, no holding back tomorrow. You've been looking for a good life, girl. Talk about baby. You've been looking for a good time. Talk about baby. And you've been looking for a good life, girl. Talk about baby. And you've been looking for a good time. All around the world, you go looking for love. All around the world, and you think about tomorrow. You don't think about today. No, yeah, baby, you've been looking for a good life, girl. Talk about baby, and you've been looking for a good life, girl, baby. You've been looking for a good life, girl. Talking about baby, and you've been looking for a good life, girl. Baby, you've been looking for a good life.
That's the second of our 8 Eurosong finalists. The Good Life, written by Teresa Keogh and performed there by Tommy Quinn. We'll have another song in next week's show. Well, for a few people now, it's nail-biting time to find out who is the Kenny Live Premier Dairies Milkman of the Year. The Milkman of the Year is going to win a fabulous holiday worth £2,000. Now, last week you met the final 8 milkmen, well actually 7 milkmen and 1 milkwoman. And since then, we've been putting them through an excruciating round of challenges and interrogations. The final decision rests with our panel of judges. Peter Dargan, the chairman of the Consumer Affairs Association. We have also with us Suzanne Weldon from Edelman PR, and the face you might recognize there, the only sports commentator we know who gets up with the milkmen, Mr. Des Cahill. Now, it was a tough competition, and just to let you know how tough, have a look at this.
It's the Kenny Live Premier Milkman of the Year Handicap Hurdle 1997. And the runners are Mark Corrigan from Louth, from Offaly, Ignatius O'Neill, Jerry Colwell, South Dublin, the filly from Mayo, Katrina Ryan, John O'Mahony from the Kingdom of Kerry, the thoroughbred from Naas, Michael Conway Behan, Willie Roberts, the North Sider, and on the outside, Sean Maloney from West Dublin. Yes, it's the cream of Ireland's milk delivery men lining up for this premier race. They're under starters' orders and they're off. They're racing towards the wall, and first over is Katrina. Oh dear, she's lost her hat, but she's got it back again, and that smile says it all. Katrina's back in the race. And here comes the rest of the field. Michael having difficulty crossing the wall. It looks as though Michael is out of the race. The man from Naas has been bypassed. No, he's taking out his paper and studying form. He's the bookie's favourite, so he can relax. And here they come to the Grand Slalom. It's Mark on the lead, followed by Willie. There's no beating about the bush with these milkmen. Jerry going well there. He has plenty of juice left in the tank, and he's followed by Sean. The break is over, and Michael is back in the race. And what's this? Yes, there's a touch of spring in the air and spring in their step as Katrina and Michael team up to go waltzing along. The Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers of the milk delivery round. Well, a milkman can expect to see lots of strange sights early in the morning, but surely nothing as strange as these. The chaps will need lots of bottle to get through. Mark is going for it. Willie and Sean look as though they've met the woman of their dreams, or perhaps that should be the nightmare. They're trying the old chat-up line from the ballroom days. Yes, and they're through. And now it's on to the milkman's worst enemy, the fearsome guard dog. The chaps are walking very carefully here. You never know just what you might step on. And the little blighters have caught someone. It's Mark. Oh well, at least it's only 3 of them. It could have been 101. Now the runners are starting to spread out as they cross over the Melling Road, away from those dangerous dogs. Willie is first with his delivery, but what's this? He's fallen foul to Fusi. Surely Mark will cop on. Oh no, he's gone too. Here comes Jerry. To get pasteurized, just look at those eyes. It's thumbs up from Sean, and he's gone. Ignatius puts up a struggle, but he too is gone for a cuddle. Now it's Michael's turn to step into the parlour, but Katrina is hanging on to her man. That's one milkman she won't be collecting. She looks like the cat who didn't get the cream. So, the Premier Milkmen of the Year have been put through their paces.
Well, after a week of tests, our finalists, our 8 finalists, have been reduced to 3, okay? also we have in their audience their nominators, the people who wrote praising their milkman. And of course, if